Well, Julia Samuel joins me now alongside Victoria Milligan, a familiar face on our show here. You'll remember that just 4 years ago, Victoria lost her daughter and partner in a speedboat tragedy, and she was helped through her grief by you, of course, Julia. And if I can come to you first, Julia, you've for many, many years been helping people deal with immense grief. Do you feel that we are still misunderstanding grief as a society? Do you think it's still the big taboo that none of us really want to talk about?
I really do think it's still a massive taboo, because in our society we so want to fix things, we want to make things better. And grief you can't fix, and it's invisible. And the more we can find ways of talking about it and people having an understanding of it, the more support they'll get from people around them, but also they'll kind of recognise that what they're feeling is normal. Because often when you're grieving, like Victoria knows, you kind of feel like you're going mad or that you're doing it wrong. And what I want is people to kind of be compassionate to themselves and get people close to them to support them too, because you need people around you, because it feels so lonely.
Because as you say, everyone's different, so there are no set rules. It's not like just do this and it will be okay. Everyone develops differently and are affected differently, and Victoria, you would be the first to say that, I'm sure. I mean, you met Julia, you were still in the hospital. This was a couple of weeks after the accident, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you at that stage did not want help. It was, I don't even want to talk about it at that point.
No, well, I think you just at that stage, it's such, obviously mine was a very sudden loss, was just to have Nico and Emily back in my life. And if I couldn't have them back, I didn't see how Julia could actually help me, or anybody could help me. Emotionally, they're always going to be part of your life. But it takes quite a long time to work towards accepting that, and the highs and lows of grief that are incredibly normal, and the pain that you feel works towards accepting that they're not going to be with you anymore in your life.
Of course, but also, Victoria, you have had 3 children as well that you had to try and pick up and carry along too. So not only were you trying to figure everything out in your own mind, but you had 3 children that needed you probably more than ever. And interestingly, I think, Julie, you thought the best way to do that was to help Victoria first.
Yes, children don't really like strangers to come in and start kind of sorting them out. So I think it's much better the person they love most, they know best, and that they trust best. The children's grief is that it's like jumping in and out of puddles, that you can let them jump in the puddle and be sad, and then they'll very naturally jump out and get on and bash their brother or, you know, kick a football. But parents often want to protect their children. They want to stop them feeling pain, and so stop them feeling sad. But also, crucially, often don't tell them the truth. And children need as much truth as adults, but in language that they understand. Because what you don't know, very much like adults, you make up. And what you make up is sort of limitless. So the truth, as hard as it is a reality that children can learn to live with and adapt to.
Of course. And you've got sort of 3 points as such, Julie, that you think are the first stepping stone, certainly, to try and to help anyone that could be at home right now dealing with terrible grief. What are those 3 relatively simple steps almost?
I think the first one is that when we lose love, it's really only love and connection to others that supports us most. That's what gives us best outcomes. So get people around you to listen to you, to talk to you. And if you can't talk to them because you're not that kind of person, journal, write it down, find a way of expressing your grief. Because when it stays alive inside you, it kind of gets stuck and interferes with everything else in your life. So finding ways of expressing what you're feeling really, really helps. The other big thing for friends and family and everyone around you is what Victoria is saying, is to acknowledge loss. Don't try and fix it. Don't try and make it better by saying, don't worry, you know, this will pass. Time is an amazing healer. That may be true, but by allowing someone to feel what they're feeling, you're acknowledging it and you're not diminishing it. So that's really important. And the third one, which isn't very kind of sexy, is we feel grief in our bodies. It's embodied as well as sort of embrained. And so exercise, shifting your body around, going out, getting in the air, running, cycling, hitting a ball, even just fast walking, it helps, because grief feels like fear often. So if you exercise, it kind of tells your body you've flown in that fight or flight response.
That was a huge thing for me, I would say. A huge part of my recovery, I think, was exercise, as you say. And it releases natural feel-good endorphins as well, doesn't it?
No, of course, of course. Well, look, Grief Works, Julia. It's a great, but very empathetic case studies, and it's just all of your years' experience put into the book. It's a great read. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you very much as well, Victoria.